Well, greetings and salutations, one and all, to the one and only Super Review Show's mixed bag coming to you live from many caves. As always, I am joined by the panel of panelists for our Movies through the Decades, Part 3. Bill and Justin, what's going on, guys?
Hi, everybody.
What's happening, dudes?
So,
Hey,
yes, Bill, go ahead. Sorry.
you know what that means, dude. It's 90s night.
It's 90s night here at the Super Review Show, kids. We are officially in the 1990s as far as our podcast goes. So, for those of you who have been living under a rock and no idea what we're doing, we have been doing the movies through the decades, recapping our favorite movies and just generically talking about films that came out chronologically by year in decades that came out in the 20th century up until the 2010s. And then we'll get to our roast, and then we get to our 200th episode of Mixed Bag. And we are stoked about that, aren't we, gentlemen?
Yes,
Yep.
and it's not necessarily just our favorites. Like, we're also talking about movies that just deserve to be talked about in a historic sense, for better or worse. We'll get more into that later on down the line.
Yes.
And so get your flannels out, get your Pearl Jam records out, get your
Pearl Jam.
or your Backstreet Boy records, whatever you want to listen to.
Or Christina Aguilera. Come on, here we go, guys. We're talking about the 90s. But in movies, not music. We did it last time.
Yeah, but 90s, the decade that all three of your co-hosts here enter the world.
Yes, we all
Yep.
enter the world. I just want to say a fun fact really quick. This number one song in the world when I was born was I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith. And I was very happy about that. I was like, wow, I feel so special.
So, unfortunately, the song that was number one the week I was born,
Yeah.
R. Kelly.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You know what the number one song when I was born?
Win, Bill. What was it?
I saw the sign and opened up my eyes. I saw the sign.
That
I
fits
know
your
what Justin's thinking. That does not shock me that was the number one song the day Bill was born.
It does not. It
No.
explains so much.
And what does it explain? Tell our lovely viewers what it explains.
It explains everything.
Yes, that is Bill's life story. He saw the sign.
I saw the sign.
But let's get right into it, shall we? Why don't we talk about well, what came out in 1990? Let's reminisce about that for a second, shall we?
Okay. May
talk
I?
about- Go ahead, Bill.
You know what, fellas? As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Bum, 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 bum.
I knew I went from rags to riches.
Goodfellas, one of the best movies of all time.
Absolutely.
The movie that put Marty Scorsese back on the map after
Yes.
a pretty rough 80s.
Indeed.
Actually, I think maybe the 70s were more rough for him, but
Well, he had Taxi Driver, and then he had in 1980 he had Raging Bull. Ooh, we got to talk about Raging Bull last week. Sorry.
yes. But
It's okay.
after the failure that was, what was it, New York, I Love You, or New York, New York, one of the two. After that failed, Scorsese really went to a huge depression, had a bad coke addiction, and it was Raging Bull that got his spark back. But I think this was the movie, in my personal opinion, that really cemented Scorsese as one of the great directors,
I agree.
American directors.
Couldn't agree with you more, my friend. And you want to know something? This was the film that, okay, one, it's actually based off a book, Wise Guy by Nicholas Piagelli, which tells the story of Henry Hill from typical Brooklyn kid, Irish Italian, to being an associate of the mob.
By the way, if you ever want to see a fun movie, check out My Blue Heaven. It's based on the same interviews that this movie was based off of. I think they took cues from Wise Guys. it's essentially Henry Hill's life in witness protection.
What's
Okay.
it called?
But
My Blue Heaven?
yeah, but it's a comedy, and it has Steve Martin as Henry Hill.
All right, I'll take a look at that. Thank you. But anyway, I think this was a film that reignited gangster films.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Because also, we had, in the 70s, we had Godfather and Godfather 2, which these two wouldn't let me talk about. We had The Godfather, we had The Godfather Part 2, and also
Scarface.
we had Scarface, but then gangster films kind of went down a little bit, and then also the same year, Godfather Part 3 came out. And that was, nope, don't worry, we won't talk about it tonight, I promise.
Are you sure? We'll give you your time. He's thinking about it.
Actually, no, I wasn't. But you know what? This really shows you that I think, and here's what I always say when it comes to The Godfather and Goodfellas. I think The Godfather perfected the mob films, perfected mob movies, but I think Goodfellas modernized it.
I agree
I
with that.
think I think that's a great analysis of it. And hot take here.
Okay?
I prefer Goodfellas over The Godfather.
Really?
I slightly disagree with you, but I respect that because you know what? I really like Goodfellas too. But you got to think about it this way, though, Justin. With no Godfather, there's no Goodfellas.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Good
Although Henry Hill's life probably still would have happened, Godfather or no Godfather. So
True.
you never really know. Would it have been as good? Probably not.
Folks, this is how you have civil discourse. Take notes.
Yes, take note.
But you also got to look at it this way. Without the okay, dang it, I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, I remember now. But the Godfather and Goodfellas, because here's where I will give you credit here. I think The Godfather is a very romanticized version of the mob, as they're portrayed as men of honor. I think Goodfellas is more realistic.
Yeah, and also it's got a bit more of a zip to it.
A zip,
Yeah,
a more
zip.
zippy.
Yeah, like Scorsese's decision to not really have a score in the movie, just using popular music from like the 40s and the 50s from the Croner eras.
Up to like the 60s and 70s and 80s.
Yeah, and it's just a faster moving picture, I think.
That's fair to say.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say, but no. I love both of them. I love The Godfather. I talked about that 2 weeks ago. I love The Godfather. I love Goodfellas.
Yeah, no disrespect to The Godfather, but
you could like both.
Yeah,
could
exactly.
like both.
It's just my personal preference.
Hey, everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
And the fact that The Godfather insists upon itself.
That it what upon itself?
Insists upon itself.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. I was quoting Family Guy.
but no, like again, I'll say it again. I think because again, there was mob movies before The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
The Godfather perfected the mob genre. Goodfellas reignited it, and modernized it. But you know what? Because what makes me think, don't worry, I won't talk about The Godfather 3. Unless you really want me to. But anyway, again, I don't think Godfather 3 is really that bad. And I know a lot of people give me weird looks when I tell them that.
Hey, Bill, what's that red dot on your head?
Oh, boy.
You guys gotta stop giving out my address to weird looking people. But anyway.
Relax, Bill. I just gave it to a couple of friends, and the entire database of the Pentagon.
You what? Um. Anyway, but what I was saying though is, but when you got to look at it this way. When both this and Godfather 3 were nominated for Best Picture, by the way.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Godfather 3 did not deserve that.
Oh, you got to look at it this way though. I think it was sort of like a commentary on staying in the past, Godfather 3, and the future, Goodfellas.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
but now Goodfellas is one of my favorite movies. One of my favorite movies. I absolutely adore it. It is so quotable. Hey, Justin, how am I funny? Am I like a clown? I amuse you. I make you laugh. I'm here to amuse you.
Hey, why don't you go home and get your fucking shine box?
Coming soon to the Super Review Show. Bill and Justin do Goodfellas.
Ay.
It's funny. I only saw the movie once in its entirety, and
Oh, I've probably seen it like 50 times.
but the scenes stick with you. It's so amazing how even after just one viewing from college, no less, the movie is still so vivid in my mind.
That's interesting.
That is just, it's just such a great movie. I don't care what anyone says.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't care what any of you people say out loud. This is a great movie.
Rest in peace, Ray Liotta, too.
Yes.
Yes,
And by the way, Goodfellas should have beat Dances with Wolves.
Oh, totally.
We'll join you on that hill, Bill.
Yes, we're gonna
You
die
are now
on
on the hill of Bill say that Goodfellas should have beat Dances with Wolves.
the Bill Hill has spoken.
The Bill has spoken, and I will never be questioned on that one.
The Bill
The
Hill.
Battle of Bill Hill.
Yes.
It sounds like a weird folk song.
Oh God. All right.
Nobody start writing that.
Billy, don't be a hero.
If any of you start writing that, I expect royalties.
Oh God.
Please, to give me your royalties, call 1-800
Got Bill.
Yeah.
Bill. Okay, you'll get off to a good start. Here, Goodfellas, great film. Next.
There's two other movies that I can think of that came out that are very, very mainstream and still very popular to this day that came out in 1990s. Do you want me to touch on them?
Sure.
One of them was Home Alone.
Ooh, yes.
Let's not forget, guys, this movie came out in 1990. This is a Christmas movie.
Dude, it's September.
I know it's September. I'm just saying that it takes place during Christmas. So does the second one, and the third one, and the fourth one, and the fifth one. We don't talk about those though.
I know the third one does not take place.
One.
The third one does not take place during Christmas. It takes place in January.
Okay, either way. There's a sixth one, Justin.
Yeah, it's called Home Sweet Home Alone.
Someone pinch me.
It's not good.
Okay, I think they should have stopped after two, but that's me. Anyways,
it actually makes the bandits the protagonists, and the little kid they got for it is insufferable, which I'm sad about because I actually liked him in Jojo Rabbit.
oh, okay. Not much to go off on here, but Home Alone, obviously a classic from the early 90s. Definitely has stood the test of time. It's played a lot on not Hallmark Channel. Freeform during the holiday season. So I just want to shed some light on it.
25 Days of Christmas.
During the 25 Days of Christmas, yes, it's played on there repeatedly. It's also on like TBS and TMC and all those other. It's played a lot on TV. I think it's played like in like mid to late November. It starts airing on TV a lot. But yeah. So, anyways,
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
Yes, and yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, it's one of those films that I feel like everyone has seen it at some point in their life, and
I've seen it. Yes,
It's like
I've seen most of it. I
you've seen
think there's like one or two scenes I haven't seen from it, but like I know the
so
story. I've seen the last half.
so Justin, you have not seen the whole thing.
Not all at once. It's sort
Okay.
of like with Christmas Story where I've seen the whole movie, but I've never seen it all at once.
You never sat down and watched the whole thing.
Okay.
Well, Christmas Story has 24-hour marathons, so you could literally see every single scene in the span of a day while just doing your basic shit. This has been Rants with Justin.
Oh God.
Yeah, save that rant for December. No, wait, you have that rant every December. Can we get some new material this December?
Yeah.
No, I
Anyways,
like Home Alone now. I do. It's a fun movie to watch. You
it's
guys
always
give
a fun
up
movie
when
to
you're
watch.
thirsty for more.
Exactly. So
All right.
I mostly watch the scenes with the wet bandits.
They're
Like,
always fun.
yeah.
oh yeah, absolutely. Anyways, I digress. There's actually one more that I can touch on, if that's okay.
Go right ahead.
Unless you guys have any more for 1990, because we got a lot of stuff. For those of you who have been for those of you who've been listening to our shows, we've been going for like 2.5 hours, and we're trying to keep this under in like a we record this in the evening, so we're trying our best to like make sure everything flows right. But have you guys seen Pretty Woman with oh, no, not Jennifer Garner,
I read Pretty Woman.
I've never
Julia
seen that.
Roberts? It's a great movie. Okay, guys, not just you two. If you're looking for and you're listening to us and you're a male and under the age of 30 and you are looking for a movie to watch with your girl,
Hey, we're not under 30.
I singled you guys out of the equation there so our listeners could actually get an idea of what's going on. Don't
Okay,
worry.
go on.
Sorry. Julia Roberts, Richard Gere, Pretty Woman, fantastic rom-com date night movie. If you're looking for a rom-com, looking for a date night movie, Pretty Woman is very good. Very, very, very fun, solid, entertaining to say the least movie. Truly one of the more fun movies I've seen from Julia Roberts. Richard Gere did another movie too. I forget what movie he was in. But yeah, it's like about it's about a guy who falls in love with like an escort. We keep our show PG-13, but he falls in love with an escort, and they actually do fall in love with each other. And he's a really rich businessman or whatever. It's pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool. So, guys, if you're looking for a date night to watch with your girl, Pretty Woman, check it out.
You know who I think this is actually a favorite movie of?
Who?
Doctor.
Matt Hemsley?
Yeah, I think he likes this movie. It's either this or American Beauty. Hold on, I'm looking at chats.
All right.
Well, American Beauty, that went over a bit of a critical reevaluation as of late.
Oh yeah.
I've never actually sat down and watched the movie, but
No, I think it was Pretty Woman. I think he liked Pretty Woman.
okay.
And if Dr. Hemsley says it, it's true. All right, next.
I think that's all I got for 1990. You guys want to go to 91?
Yeah,
Yep,
let's go
91.
91.
Let's kick it off with Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Doesn't mean
One of
something
one of the
So
one
fun
of the
fact for you guys.
one of the freakiest movies of the 90s, but go on.
Fun fact, this is a sequel.
Yes. Yes, it
A
is.
lot of people do not know this, especially since the original movie was eventually remade. So it was consistent with Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter, but the original Hannibal Lecter movie was called Manhunter. And it starred Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter. And it was based on the book Red Dragon. Then Jonathan Demme got his hands on the franchise. He cast Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter, cast Jodie Foster as Clary Starlin, And the rest, as they say, is history.
And they were all like second or third choices too.
Best choices, though.
Telling me something, Clyde. Do the lions stop screaming? Do they stop screaming?
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.
I had his liver with a side of fava beans and a nice Chianti.
This movie scared the hell out of me when I was younger.
He eats people. It would scare the shit out of me too.
Exactly.
And where's their skins?
Didn't he skin them, right? He skins the people?
Yeah, so Buffalo Bill in this would deliberately target people who are overweight and then starve them and make them lose the weight, keeping their skin nice and moisturized. Because if you have, from the movie's logic, if you had the skin of someone who was overweight that went on this crash diet, their skin will be nice and loose and more pliable, so he could wear it.
Yuck. Needless to say, yuck.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a very what can you say? I mean, there's a lot to be said here about this movie. And it won Best Picture of the Year.
Yeah.
It was I forget how many Oscars it won. I forget how many. What was it? Like 7?
And one of the few movies in the 90s, which the 90s was really when this started becoming more and more mainstream, that really touched upon the issue of transgender.
And
Yes,
gay folks too.
with
Yeah.
Jodie Foster. Yep. So just we're on the Wikipedia page for a second for those who keeping track at home. It won 5 Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay. And I didn't know this. Today, it's the only horror film to win the Best Picture to date.
Yeah.
They really had something special going on there.
Yes, they did.
If you have never, I'm just saying this to our listener, if you have never seen Silence of the Lambs, get on it. There's a reason why it won 5 Oscars, and it's one of the best movies of all time.
Get on it. Get on it.
I mean, Justin, Bill, you've seen this, right?
Parts of it. I've never watched the whole thing.
Okay, I've seen the whole thing all the way through. Justin, you seen the whole thing?
I've seen it and I've read the script.
Oh wow. Okay, so Justin knows more than I do on this, which is great. Good. No, but seriously, it's frightening.
It's very frightening.
It's a twisted movie.
Yeah.
Forgive me, I'm a little sick, but that's just me. So, but yeah, this is one of the greatest movies, and really, it kind of, I don't want to say set the tone for the 90s, but like, would you say this is one of those movies that really just set the tone for the 90s? Because like if you think about you think about the 80s, you think about like, oh, you think of like the Brat Pack, or like
No,
more fun movies. You know what I mean? Like this movie kind of set the tone, or am I thinking the wrong thing?
no, I don't think that's necessarily set the tone, because when I think 90s, I think forced product placement, I think goofy comedies, I think over the top action.
For the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay, like True Lies, we'll get to that in a little bit and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Or T2, stuff like that.
Right now, I think we're still seeing a little bit of the holdovers from the 80s.
Okay.
Fun fact, Silence of the Lambs, I think, was one of the last Orion pictures released
I think you're
before
right.
they went defunct.
Yeah. If for those of you who want to do some homework, look up that for a little bit. That could be another topic too one day, like movie studios or movie companies that went bankrupt. We're talking
Yeah,
about.
the rise and fall of the mini majors.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
I'll take note of that. But yeah, so that's cool. But yeah, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Billy, got anything else or no?
For Silence of the Lambs or something else in general?
For Silence of the Lambs before we move on to something else.
No, I think I'm good. I got something else in mind for the next one.
For 91,
Yeah.
what do you got?
Okay, we mentioned how this won the Oscars this year. I want to talk about one of its competitors.
Sure.
And this might be weird, but it's an anime film, Beauty and the Beast.
Aha, the Disney Renaissance.
Yes. We it is our deepest pride and greatest pleasure that we welcome you tonight. So relax.
And be our guest.
Relax, pull up a chair
And
as
be
we
our
at the
guest.
Super Review Show proudly present us talking about this.
Be our
So-
guest, guys.
Be our guest as we dive in.
Be our but anyway, okay. First, a little recap from last week. Last week we talked about the Little Mermaid a little bit
Yes.
because this was the beginning of the period. Little recap. After Walt Disney died in 1966, the Disney company basically went into what they call the Dark Ages.
Yeah, where they had no clear direction of what to do. They tried experimenting with more adult geared projects, which they're given the family friendly brand of Disney. Naturally, they didn't really do all that well. And yeah, Disney just had no self identity.
And then, and as I said, they did terrible with the movie The Black Cauldron, which lost to Justin. Let's see if you remember.
The Care Bears movie.
And then in 1989, first, I highly recommend you all go watch the documentary Wake and Sleep and Beauty. It talks about all this perfectly. But anyway, in 1989, The Little Mermaid, which won 2 Oscars for Best Picture. And then we moved on to this movie, Beauty and the Beast, which
Actually got nominated for Best Picture, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It was actually the only film that got nominated for Best Picture.
The only animated
film that got nominated for Best Picture at the time.
I was gonna say, if it was the only one, how'd it lose?
I don't know. My brain doesn't work sometimes.
That's most of us, Bill. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, but this film is just wow. Well, and this also began the period, started with The Little Mermaid, but then it came on to this and some other ones we'll talk about in a bit. This began a period known as the Disney Renaissance.
Yep.
Which the movie itself is absolutely wow. The film, the animation, and because you know what? I think the Disney Renaissance really showed, and I'll probably be repeating this when we talk about another one later. It was always, Disney movies are for kids.
They're really not.
But then when you look at this, you're like, wow, this was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Of the year.
And yeah, it lost, but still, that was something that was unheard of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give credit where credit is due right there.
Like, when you look at the animation is great. The characters are great. And of course, we can't talk about this without talking about, guess what? The music. Alan Menken and Howard Ashman.
Thank you.
I'm going to be bankrupt by the time this is all over, aren't I?
It's the 90s. Oh, hell yeah.
But anyway, this was also and also they were nominated 3 songs. Belle, the opening one, Be Our Guest, and The Beauty and the Beast, The Tale as Old as Time, were all nominated for Best Original Song, and Beauty and the Beast ended up winning. And
So they got 3 of the 5 nominations. What were the other 2?
one was Everything I Do It For You.
Ugh.
From Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
And I forgot what the other one was.
From your favorite man, JT.
My boy, Brian Adams. My boy.
But anyway, and also, but then after a few years, because then The Lion King also had 3 songs, and then Enchanted in 2007 and 3 songs, and they had to limit to 2 per nominee. But also, I also brought up Megan's partner, Howard Ashman. This was actually, he not only did he write the music, he was also like one of the producers. And it's actually, here's the thing, they actually weren't going to work on Beauty and the Beast. They were going to work on Aladdin, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But actually, first, a little bit of a sad story. After they won for Beauty and the Beast, for Little Mermaid in 1989, Howard Ashman told Alan Menken, hey, I'm really glad we won tonight, but when we get back to New York, we need to talk. And he said, hey, let's talk now. He goes, now let's enjoy the night. We'll talk when we get home. And then when they got home, Howard Ashman had told Alan Menken that he was HIV positive. And he said, don't tell anybody. Because this was at the time where if you were HIV positive,
You were seen as a social pariah.
yeah, and also Howard Ashman was gay.
Yeah.
So also at this time, you could potentially lose your job.
Yeah.
And at first they weren't going to work on Beauty and the Beast. They wanted to focus on Aladdin. But when Beauty and the Beast was not scripted to be a musical, they scrapped it. Said, Menken, hey, Alan, Howard, can you help us out? I said, fine. And it later came out, because he was tired and not always feeling good, that he was HIV positive. But yet the Disney company, were super accommodating. They were super accommodating. He worked a lot from home, and unfortunately, Howard never got to see the finished product, because he actually died when the film was in test screening.
The shame.
And if you watch the end of the film, they have a dedication to Howard at the end that says, to our friend Howard, who gave the mermaid a voice and the beast a soul, we will be forever grateful.
Oh.
So, but you know what? Knowing that about Howard Ashman, I don't really want to say it makes the movie sad, but it makes it more. Justin, help me out here.
Emotional.
Special.
It makes it special, because knowing that this was his final work, and well, we'll get to that when we get to Aladdin, but yeah, this was. And when they won Best Picture, Howard's partner accepted Best Picture, Best Original Song. Howard's partner accepted his award on his behalf.
Yeah.
So this film, if if The Little Mermaid started the Disney Renaissance, then Beauty and the Beast, would you say perfected it, or would that be another film that we're going to talk about in a bit and a little later, Justin?
I wouldn't say it necessarily perfected it, but it definitely proved that Little Mermaid wasn't a fluke. it showed that Disney was back and they're ready to play ball.
Yeah, so Beauty and the Beast for 1991 and the Disney Renaissance. Okay, next.
1992. Shall we go on?
Yeah.
Well, Justin, you got anything for 1991?
That's it,
I'm
right?
well, mine was Silence of the Lambs.
JT,
Oh,
you got anything for 91?
that's all I got was Silence of the Lambs and Beauty and the Beast.
All right, let's go 92 then.
Let's see what came out in 1992. I don't know, guys. Let's take a look. Take a note for a sec. Oh, we have to talk about this one. No, wait. I'm not sure if this is 92 or 93, but let's just check really quick. Wayne's World.
That was 92, right?
It was 92, right? Wayne's World, Party Time, excellent. It was 92. All right, cool. Just checking. Wayne's World, Party Time, excellent. Based off the SNL skit with starring Michael Myers and Dana Carvey. Is that his name, right?
Mike
Carvey.
Myers. Mike Myers.
Mike Myers and Dana Carvey.
Michael's the serial killer. Mike is the comedian.
Sorry, thank you. I forgot. And it's based on the SNL. I want to touch on it for a second there. SNL. So that's, for those who don't know, that's Saturday Night Live here in New York. It's based on the SNL skit, and they made a sequel to it too, Wayne's World 2. And I didn't see Wayne's World 2, but I said Wayne's World 1 was just a fun movie to see. She's a babe, swing. So yeah, this if you haven't seen Wayne's World, this is a fun one to watch. If you're having like a down day, just watch Wayne's World and you'll feel better. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Hey, let's do the Scooby-Doo ending.
We're not worthy.
We're not worthy. Exactly.
No stairway.
Denied.
Well.
You know, that security guard had a lot of information pertinent to our flight.
She's a babe. Swing. There's a lot of good quotes in this movie too. Let's see really quick. We forgot about that.
Let's not forget, this is the movie that put Bohemian Rhapsody back on the charts.
Correct. Because that one scene in the movie just they reignited the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, so yeah, we have to we touch on Wayne's World. There's really only one other one I can think of for 1992. What do you got?
We're talking about Wayne's World. There's a big connection to another movie from 92.
What is it?
Terminator 2.
Oh. Well, that was 91, right?
I thought it was 92.
Yeah, we'll count it.
Okay.
It was 91, but you can go talk about it for a second. Go ahead.
All right, my bad. Well, this is my unofficial 91 one then. Okay. I mean, come on. Terminator 2 redefined what could be done with action movies. Like, this is one of the first movies to really play around with CGI and use it to enhance scenes. Like, people talk about the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, which we will get to, but really it's the T-1000 and its liquid CG form that the fact that they made it liquid metal to sort of hide the infancy of CGI at the time, brilliant, was genius. James Cameron, I have a lot of problems with your more recent movies, but Terminator 2 is still your magnum opus.
Wow. Avatar 2, anyone? I'm just kidding. Avatar, a movie actually I enjoyed a little bit, but I mean, needless to say though. No. It was 90, so we had to touch on, but T2 was in 1991. We talked on Wayne's World. Was there anything else for 1992, guys, or no?
Oh, I got something.
What do you got, Bill? Am I thinking of the right animated movie or no?
Yes. Is it Aladdin?
If I could spell it right, forgive me, guys. Yes, go on.
All
Sorry.
right. So this was the begin. So as we continue our talk about the Disney Renaissance, um, this was this story: Aladdin, a thief who finds a magic lamp to impress Jasmine. And okay, come on, we all know what we really want to talk about. The best part of the film, Justin. Who is it?
Robin Williams as the
Like
genie.
10,000 years really gives you a crick in the neck. Hold on. It's great to be back, folks. What wasn't like most of his lines improvised, Justin?
Oh yeah, they had like hours of material.
Robin, we still miss you. Um, but the movie itself, this actually broke the record of the highest grossing animated film since whatchamacallit, since Snow White. Actually, this broke the record.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, it was that record for 2 years, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. But anyway, the film, and I brought up Howard Ashman with Beauty and the Beast. Before they got to Beauty and the Beast, Howard Ashman and Alan Menken. Justin.
Um Thank you.
Justin, how many times am I going to tell you to keep the door locked so he doesn't come in? Anyway, anyway, but that was actually what I was talking about with Beauty and the Beast. They actually wrote a few songs for Aladdin together. A lot of them weren't used in the film. A lot of them were actually made for the Broadway show that Justin, you have seen.
I have too.
Oh, I haven't. I gotta see it. But anyway, the song, but then a lot of the songs didn't make it, and it was then replaced after his death. They brought in Sir Tim I Wrote Everything Rice. Yeah, he wrote everything, remember that. And okay, the songs with Ashman, I think, were Arabian Nights, Friend Like Me, and Prince Ali. And Tim Rice was One Jump Ahead, the reprise for Prince Ali, and A Whole New World. And with the original Prince Ali, Howard Ashman was actually in the hospital at the time. And him and Alan wrote that song together. Well, Alan brought in one of those portable keyboards, and they wrote it when Howard Ashman was in the hospital. You know, have you ever realized a song that could sound so happy and bouncy actually has a very dark, ominous story? Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, I have.
But anyway, but the film itself, it's the Disney Renaissance. What can you say about it? Am I right?
One of the classics from that time period.
Yes. And don't worry, in about the 2 years in this, we'll get to the big one. Don't worry, we'll get to the big one.
Yes, let's keep it moving, shall we?
All right.
Was there anything that's for 92 other than Wayne's World and Aladdin? I think that's the
I have one more.
All right,
Sure,
let's
what do you
hear
got? Really quick, what do you got?
So, as we all know, the 90s is sort of the birth of independent cinema.
Okay.
Now, one of the first indie filmmakers to really break through was a man named Quentin Tarantino.
Reservoir Dogs.
Yes, Reservoir Dogs, who in 1991, maybe?
Two. No, it was two, I think.
No,
92.
yeah, the film came out in 92, but I don't know if it was filming in 92.
Oh, right, right.
He gave a script to his acting teacher, who in turn gave it to his wife, and his wife gave it to Harvey Keitel, who loved the script so much that he signed on as a co-producer and helped him raise $1.5 million so that he could make this movie. Casted Keitel, casted Steve Buscemi, Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, Edward Bunker, and himself as Mr. Brown. And then when it came time to distribute, it was given to Miramax. Now, Miramax was owned by the Weinsteins at the time. Harvey and Bob. Harvey and Bob Weinstein were responsible for producing and distributing most of the great independent movies to come out in the 90s and even the 2000s. Now, they released crap too, but the Weinsteins made sure that they had a very solid slate of Oscar contenders being released simultaneously to give their slate the sense of not authenticity, but what's the word? That their slate's nothing to joke about. So this movie is actually also a very interesting experiment on how to save money when making a movie.
Really? How so?
Well, most of the movie takes place in a warehouse, besides maybe the diner scene. Making it essentially a bottle episode. You never see the heist because that would have cost too much money. They were very conservative with their budget. And they made the movie for at most $3 million.
That's insane.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So
Literally.
anyway,
Anyways,
this was the rise of independent cinema.
Yep.
let's keep going, shall we?
Was released
right.
through rave reviews.
Awesome.
Now, anything else for 92? Ready to go to 93?
I think we're good for 93, shall we?
Let's go to
Let's go for
93.
93.
Should we just get right into it, shall we, with Jurassic Park?
Welcome
To Jurassic Park.
do 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 do.
They're moving in herds. They
One
do
of the
move
greatest
in
movies of
herds.
all time.
Oh, this is not just a movie. This is like an experience.
Yeah.
The T-Rex.
I must have seen this movie a dozen times.
I probably have two.
And Justin, remember the T-Rex. That's what I'm thinking.
Motherfucking T-Rex.
T-Rex. Nostalgia critic, we love you. I am awesome. T-Rex. That is like the best part of the film. It doesn't even need, it just needs to roar how awesome it is.
So, as I said with Terminator 2, which sort of really began the mainstream usage of CGI,
Yeah.
this movie really continued that trend. Now, what makes Jurassic Park unique is they did have actual animatronic dinosaurs and puppets and all that. They had those. But what they did was they enhanced the practical effects with CGI. So digital touch-ups here and there, and it is 95% seamless. The one shot I think doesn't necessarily work. There's this one shot where there were a bunch of dinosaurs running in the background, and you kind of tell that they were a little on the cartoony side. But for the most part, the effects in this 30-plus-year-old movie holds up.
I agree.
And
Yes.
that's impressive when you're also dealing with CGI.
At the time, CGI too.
Yeah, we're talking about 90s CGI.
Yeah, like computer graphics were just in the early.
They were just
dawn
getting
of it.
started.
They were just starting out. So
Ooh.
so needless to say, one of the best movies of all time, a classic by Sir Steven Spielberg, the
Oh,
GOAT.
he's not a sir.
One of the best blockbuster filmmakers of all time.
Hands down.
Started big with Jaws, aka the movie that shut down a whole summer activity.
Yes, sir.
And busted the block for the first time.
Busted the block, baby. All right, let's go. Let's go to a much more serious note, shall we? For 93, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
Schindler's List.
We've talked about this movie a lot before, but
We have, and we're not going to go too much into it, but let's just, it's a very. I will talk about this one. It is a very serious movie. I'm not. Bill has gone on tangents about it before. If you want to know more about it, go back and listen to some of our previous podcasts that we've done, or go back or watch our different videos we've done. But basically, it's a very long, emotional, powerful movie with Liam Neeson in the lead role, and it is one of the best movies of all time, directed by the same guy who directed Jurassic Park, Steven Spielberg.
He was
Same
very
year.
busy back then.
He was a very, very, very busy man back then.
The 90s were very busy for him.
Oh yeah,
that really shows you though that he has range. He can do like the Jaws. He can do the
sci-fi with Close Encounters.
Yes, he could do the adventure like Indiana Jones, and he can do the see.
Yes, but
Like
this
ET, but he can
this
also
movie,
do...
I will say this. I think this movie kind of broke something in him.
I agree.
After this movie, his movies never really reached that level of fun again.
No, you're right.
You think his films became more serious after this?
I mean, Saving Private Ryan, we'll talk about that in that.
Yeah, and even like his blockbuster movies, such as like Lost World, Jurassic Park, or Indiana Jones and the King of the Crystal Skull, those were diminished returns. And believe it or not, I don't know if we talked about this last week. There was a Who Framed Roger Rabbit sequel,
Yeah, we did touch upon it. Go right ahead.
uh, being in the works, but Spielberg didn't want to work on it anymore after working on this movie because he didn't want to portray the Nazis as anything less than monsters anymore.
And I think, I think that movie really woke him up. And because I have talked about this before, Steven Spielberg wrote about this because, he did this film because he had a lot of, because Spielberg himself is Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
And he had family members and family friends who were Holocaust survivors. And, and I've told this story from him before that when he was a young kid, his grandfather used to call him Shmuel, his Hebrew name, and he hated that.
Yeah.
And then he said, once I made this film, I really feel bad for being mad at my grandfather after that. And this film really, like JT said, it is over 3 hours long, but it's a film that needs to be seen.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
It is a film that people need to see the horrors that was the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, but anyway, whilst we're on 93, may I suggest a film?
Yes.
Go where?
It's a movie, and this one, best original song by JT's boy, Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, I was gonna bring it up too. That you know what that means, right?
1, 2, 3. Whee!
We swiped
Right,
right. We haven't done
Philadelphia.
We haven't done that in a while.
Oh my.
Damn it, Justin. Ruin the moment.
All right.
Don't blame me. Blame George Takei. He coined the term.
Oh,
Oh
God.
my.
JT, have you ever seen this movie?
Okay, don't kill me. I have not, but it's on my to-see list because of Bruce's amazing song that he won an Oscar for.
Justin, have you seen this movie?
I have not.
Okay, so it looks like I got to do the heavy lifting on this one, don't I?
Keep it brief, but go ahead.
Okay. Philadelphia tells the story of a lawyer, Andrew Beckett, played by Tom Hanks. He is a gay lawyer who has AIDS. And he gets fired from his law firm. Because of his AIDS diagnosis.
Mm.
So he goes to a conservative lawyer played by Denzel Washington, who has one of the greatest mustaches of all time. Can we all admit that?
Yes.
Because he's freaking Denzel Washington.
Of course.
At first, Denzel is resistant, but then he says, okay, I'll represent you. And not that he agrees with Andy's homosexuality, but he's doing it, okay, this is discrimination. And I think this film was one of the first films that really brought AIDS into the spotlight.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because it was a monster in the 80s in which a certain president, whose name I will not mention, didn't even talk about it till like he was into his second term.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the film that I think really put AIDS into the spotlight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And, you had other cultural depictions, like 3 years later on stage, you had Rent, but there was a scene when Tom Hanks' character goes sees Denzel Washington's character, and he's touching everything on his desk, and he goes, I have AIDS, and they just shook hands, and Denzel's freaking out. And he's touching, goes, oh, is that your new baby girl who was born? The picture goes, yeah, goes, oh, congrats. And he's looking at the picture. And he goes, Mr. Beckett, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And he's freaking out. Oh, my God, he touched me. He touched my desk. Am I going to get it?
Right.
And he goes to the doctor, and the doctor straight up tells him, Yeah, you can't get AIDS by just touching someone. Because if any of you paid attention in health class, you know you can't get AIDS from touching someone.
Yeah.
Correct.
And this film, I'm not going to get into the ending, but I'll say this: it's a sad ending.
Oh, I know the ending. I haven't seen the movie, but I know the ending.
Yeah, I know about the ending too.
But anyway, this film really put AIDS in the spotlight and really educated us about, how sad is it that a film educated more us about AIDS than the U.S. government at the time?
Mm,
How sad is that?
yeah.
But we had to be educated by Tom Hanks and Denzel. Well, Tom Hanks, I'm not opposed to that because it's Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
But
Tom Hanks 2028.
maybe
You never know.
make America Hanks again.
Oh my God.
All right, kids.
Anyway,
Hanks America.
Tom Hanks will be your campaign advisors. Anyway, but no, and the film, and what's actually interesting is Tom Hanks actually went to hospitals with AIDS patients to study for the role.
Yeah.
So, and this actually gave Tom Hanks his best Academy Award, his Academy Award for Best Actor.
Well, first
Yeah.
one.
And this was a switch where Tom Hanks really started taking more dramatic roles, where before he was just known as the
with the
funny man.
buddies.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, but this film, I think this is an important film to watch. But this is Philadelphia, good movie, 93. Okay, it's time to move on to the year that me and Justin entered into the world.
Can we talk about one more movie in 1993? I'll make it really brief.
Go right ahead.
Okay, it's another rom-com. I know, lame on my part. But if you're just tuning into us now, we're talking about Sleepless in Seattle. Have you guys ever seen this movie? I'm just curious. Another Tom Hanks movie.
No.
Oh my God. You guys are freaking killing me here. This is a great movie. For those of you who have not seen Sleepless in Seattle, I'm just going to touch on it briefly. It's a great movie. It's another romantic comedy starring Meg Ryan, who also starred in When Harry Met Sally, mind you. And basically, she lives in Baltimore. Tom Hanks lives in Seattle, and the two of them eventually meet up, and they, start dating. I'm paraphrasing a lot, but it's a very, 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 very sweet movie to see. Again, guys, if you're looking for a movie to see with your girl, watch Sleepless in Seattle. It might actually help you out. Anyways, just want to give you some points there.
Yeah, what is it with you and rom-coms all of a sudden?
I enjoy
Yeah,
rom-com.
you watch a lot of rom-coms, dude.
Me and the pillow.
Justin, should I push the suspicious button?
No, don't.
Can
no.
I, Justin?
No.
Maybe.
No, but also it's a great. I enjoy watching rom-coms like When Harry Met Sally or The Sleepless in Seattle. There's a lot of good ones out there. Pretty Woman, another one. So
Okay. So
All right.
now we ready to move on to the year that Justin and I entered the world.
yes, we can talk about 1994, Bill.
That was a good year.
It was arguably the best year for film.
I think it was.
I mean, if you think about it, guys, it really was the best year for film.
So what should we start off with?
Well,
if you would indulge me a little bit more, I have another indie movie that deserves to be talked about.
In 94?
Yes.
Is it what I think it is?
What do you think it is? Nope.
Oh, it isn't?
It's
okay.
not.
All right, what is it?
This one is called Clerks.
Okay, Kevin Smith.
Interesting.
So,
go on.
Another movie Dr. Hemsley likes.
Do any of you know the story of how this movie was made?
I do not.
So Kevin Smith at the time was working at a convenience store. He had no real experience in filmmaking, and he didn't have a lot of money. The movie was made for $27,500. Think about that.
That's insane. That's a tight budget. For those of you who know anything about filmmaking, that's a tight budget.
Do you know what Kevin Smith did to raise that money?
What did he do?
He maxed out all of his credit cards.
Wow.
He essentially put himself into financial ruin. And if this movie did not work,
He'd be screwed.
he'd be so screwed.
Mega screwed.
So the film was shopped around at Sundance, and who do you think bought it?
Miramax.
Yep. Miramax bought the script, bought the rights to the movie, and it went on to make $4.4 million.
Which
Now
is a
that's-
modest hit.
That's a profit right there.
That's a profit. That
Yeah.
is an absolute profit.
For a $27,000 budget, that's a huge profit.
So
Now-
the big financial risk turned Kevin Smith into a millionaire.
Now, here's the thing. Yes, the production budget was $27,500. Post-production, apparently was $230,000.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, still, tight budget, big hit for the budget they had, and it made Kevin Smith the folk hero to indie filmmakers everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if this guy can do it, anyone can do it. That sort of
Exactly.
mentality.
That's all it takes is a little luck and a little risk.
And let me tell you, Kevin Smith is one of those guys that I just want to sit down with him and share a beer and just listen to him talk.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Tarantino, honestly. Like those two directors, I would absolutely just want to sit down and pick their brains.
You'd go Google Gaga over them.
Probably.
Knowing you, yes. So, awesome. Good pick. Good pick. I forgot this came out in 94, but yeah.
Wow. So this movie
He
turned.
sucked 27 in a row.
Wow.
So the film, he was this close to going just flat out broke.
Yeah.
And now he's a millionaire.
Well, I have no idea if he's a millionaire, but he's
Financially comfortable.
he's financially comfortable. He's got a successful podcast. He just released a new movie out called the 430 movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he's doing okay.
I think he's a pop culture phenomenon himself. So let's not forget that. Kevin
I
Smith.
want to see a movie about the making of Clerks. Would you think that would make a good film?
They did make a movie,
What's it called?
Clerks 3.
About the making of it, isn't it?
So Clerks 3 is a meta comedy where the characters in Clerks decide to make the movie Clerks.
That's funny. That's funny. I respect that.
After one of the main characters has a heart attack.
Yeah.
Which was inspired by Kevin Smith's real life heart attack that he thankfully survived because that was a widowmaker.
Yeah. Anything else for Clerks, my guy? Or before we go into a couple others?
I think I'm good.
Yeah. She sucked 36 blanks.
In a row?
Oh my God. All right. I got a few we could talk about. I'll go through a couple rapid fire if you want to. If you want to chime in, you can. But speaking of comedies, Dumb and Dumber. Not the second one. which was very good. Dumb and Dumber came out in 1994. This is actually a very, very. I saw it for the first time not too long ago, but this is actually a very funny movie. Very funny movie.
Boy, don't worry about the French. The French are assholes.
Oh my god.
We apologize to anyone in the great nation of France who's watching this.
Our French listeners, you guys are awesome. We love you. But in all seriousness, though, this Dumb and Dumber is one of those movies that just is hysterical. Hysterical. Um, but yeah, it's just iconic. Iconic movie. I had to touch on it really quick. Um, a lot of movies came out this year. I would say this is the greatest year of cinema, guys. I'm just saying. 1994, 30 years ago. A lot of the best movies of all time came out this year too. Comedy wise, animation we'll get to. But
Well, this was Jim Carrey's year.
of course.
Between Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, and The Mask.
I was gonna say The
Three
Mask.
mega
Yeah.
hits for Jim Carrey, all in 1994.
We could talk about The Mask just for a second too. We talked about The Mask at one point on our channel, on our show. This is a creepy movie, needless to say. I am not really. I'm not,
Favorite.
it's your favorite? Is that what you just said?
My favorite Jim Carrey movie, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's
The
a live
Mask.
action cartoon.
Which is pretty cool, but for whatever reason, it creeped me out when I was younger.
Fair.
I could see that.
Fair.
Like when I was very, very young, I was like, "What is this mask thing?" I remember being on TV, and I was like, "Yeah, let's turn that off." And then, or Son of the Mask, or whatever.
Yeah, Son of the Mask is an abomination. That
Exactly.
scares me today.
How bad it was, or just in general.
In general.
Yeah, you're right. Let's not talk about that. Anyways, but the mask, I had to touch on it really quick. Um, a movie, you know what? Hold on, I'll make this really quick. But because I have
We got the big ones to get to here.
Well, I know. I really quick. Just True Lies. Action. James Cameron proving once again that he's one of the best directors out there. And like he's directed like what 8 movies and they've all been great.
Yep. Well, we'll talk about one in a little bit.
Yeah. You guys ever seen True Lies?
Yes.
No.
No. Okay, Bill, get on it. It's action packed,
got
incredible.
It's a fun movie. It's like the first half is like a rom-com with spy shit, and then the second half is pure spy shit.
It's really cool. Very cool, if I do say so myself. With Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold Schwarzenegger doing their thing. But yeah, so Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, True Lies. I think that's the ones I wanted to rapid fire through. Now we got to talk about the big ones.
Okay.
Let's go from like least important, well, quote unquote least important to like most important. I'd say Pulp Fiction.
Why would you say that's least important?
Out of the big three, I mean, they were all. It's hard to. It's a trifecta for this year. It's a trifecta with these three films where all three were nominated for Best Picture. But in my mind, in my own interpretation of film and my thought process, Pulp Fiction is like the bottom one of the three between Forrest Gump, Shawshank Redemption, and Pulp Fiction. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I do not. It's one of the best movies of all time. It's Quentin Tarantino doing his thing. Do I think it is? But out of the three of them, I think it's like the lesser of the three, if that makes sense. And that's not a diss to it whatsoever. It's a fantastic movie. You see what I'm saying, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's not a bad. It's not the farthest thing from a bad movie whatsoever. But what I'm saying is, I believe Pulp Fiction is out of the three that were out of the Best Picture nominees that year out of the big three for Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, and Shawshank Redemption. We've talked about that before. I mean, out of the three, I think this one had like I had a clear shot, but I don't think it would have won. I think it would have come down to between Shawshank and Forrest Gump. So there's that.
And I'll talk about that in a second. But
Yeah.
remember this. But Marcellus Wallace don't like to be by anyone except Mrs. Wallace. Does he look like a what? Does he look like a You know, because I'll be honest, this is actually one of the few John Travolta movies I actually like.
Okay.
Well,
Did you
this
know
was
my?
supposed to be his resurgence.
Yeah, in the 90s, he got a resurgence.
There's actually a video. It's actually funny. It was on like YouTube or something. It has some people. It has a video from Grease them singing the chorus from Summer Nights. Go, tell me more, dizzy driver. Go, tell me more, and then it cuts to Samuel Jackson. Does he look like a bitch?
Ta!
Allow me to retort.
Do you read the Bible? The
What?
path of the righteous man. I don't
Exactly.
remember the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I will strike down at vengeance and furious anger, and they will know that my name is the Lord when I strike my vengeance upon thee. By the way, that's not a real Bible verse. That's fake.
No, it's not.
But
Paraphrased by Bill.
thank you. But anyway, but no, the film is just. I actually first watched this near the whole thing with you, Justin. Remember?
I do.
We went out to dinner. We came home, said, let's watch a movie. I'm like, what do you want to watch? I'm like, I've never watched Pulp Fiction. And he's like, okay, let's do it. And I watched about 90% of it, and I didn't get to the ending because I had to leave. And I fell asleep on the couch.
The ending is so good. I'm just going to walk the earth.
You missed the last diner scene. Come on.
No, but you know what happened after that, though?
What?
About a week later, SpongeBob narrator voice, 1 week later. I was actually in Best Buy and I found a Blu-ray copy of this film for like $5.
Nice.
So I just said, okay, I'll
Sure.
get it. And I saw the ending. And I saw that I watched the whole thing. And I even watched it with my brother and he liked it. But anyway, Pulp Fiction, it is one of those films that really just, I don't know how to describe it. You, Justin?
It's not a traditional movie. It doesn't follow the traditional 3-act structure. It plays with time a lot. And with your expectations a bit, and it's darkly funny. I consider this a dark comedy.
Christopher Walken explaining the Watch story. That is great.
Yes. And rest in peace, Marvin. Whoa! Open. Just shot Marvin in the face. I didn't mean to.
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
Crazy. One of the best movies of all time, though, needless to say.
Yeah.
And if she comes back and see this, I'm going to get effing divorced. I don't want to get effing divorced.
So many F-bombs in that movie, but it's so great.
Yeah, but it's such a great movie.
Yes.
And
yeah, go ahead.
now go ahead. Somebody.
I was gonna say, do you want to we got to move on, but like I was saying, but Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction, one of the greatest movies of all time.
I'd put it in there. What do you think, Justin?
Definitely
Top 30.
best of the 90s.
Yes.
Top 30 or 40, probably. No,
Yep.
I would say top 30.
top 30 for sure. All right, let's get to the other two, shall we? And then we'll get to the animated stuff too. Don't worry. But Forrest Gump. My name's Forrest Gump. People call
Now,
me.
we sort of touched upon this when we were talking about movies that we've seen in school.
So
Yes,
we won't
we
go
did.
too much into it. But
Not too much, but go on.
Yeah, this is the continuing
Of Tom Hanks' serious roles.
Tom Hanks' serious roles. Robert Zemeckis breaking out of his blockbuster bubble because he had Romancing the Stone, Back to the Future trilogy, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit in the 80s. Now he's starting to do a little more serious fare with Forrest Gump, which it's basically a time capsule of the 50s to the late 80s.
because you want to know something, this movie has to do with history, but it's not about history, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's more of a backdrop.
Forrest Gump is he's more of the bystander. He's more of the bystander.
Yeah,
He's telling life through his eyes.
he's kind of bumbling through life and he's sort of finding himself in all these situations that are making history.
So, one of my favorite is Forrest Gump saved us from Watergate. Goes, yeah, there's people out there. They're looking for a flat. They have flashlights out there. I think they're looking for a fuse box or something. Could somebody send maintenance down there? They're keeping me awake. And he hung up, and it had like the notepad said Watergate Hotel.
Yeah.
So Forrest Gump stopped Watergate. We thank him for
Well,
his service.
exposed Watergate.
Exposed Watergate, and so we thank him for his service.
Yeah.
But and even some of the dark ones when he met JFK, when he goes, a couple years later, somebody shot that nice young president when he was riding around in his car. And a couple years later, somebody shot his little brother too. But he was in the hotel kitchen. I hate to be one of those brothers.
Huh.
I wonder if Ted Kennedy saw that. I wonder if he laughed or he got mad about that.
Oh, who knows?
I don't know.
Because they were joking about, his two brothers getting killed.
Yeah.
But this was a good movie, great movie, and Forrest Gump won Best Picture, and Tom Hanks won Best Actor, and this was a year after Philadelphia. And when they asked him in the press conference, they said, "So, how do you think Forrest would describe you won back to back?" Well, in the words of Forrest Gump, I went to the Academy Awards again, and I won again.
Yeah.
But this movie is just it's a time capsule of
It's iconic.
everything from like the 50s to the 80s.
Yeah, literally. So,
And
yeah.
and a lot of people, I won't get too much into this, but a lot of people debate about this in a political sense. Is it a liberal movie? Is it a more conservative movie? I would say it's more of a centrist movie. Like it shows. Listen, actually, don't take my word for it. Just read some people who have nothing better to do with their time who write big ass essays about this or make YouTube videos about it. No, it's true. Go ahead. When you're done here, watch those. It's just people who have way too much free time on their hands.
It's also on Reddit. I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
But no, I would say
Probably.
it shows both sides. But and also something I read that's very gross, that's very disgusting, that I will not share here, but I'll tell my two cohorts when we're done. But anyway, Forrest Gump is awesome. I love the movie.
Truly, truly, truly. All right. And we got one more live action movie for 94, and then we'll touch on the animated stuff too. All right.
Okay.
The show. I mean, Bill and I did a movie commentary on this, which, by the way, I'm still working on fixing, by the way. Shawshank Redemption.
Oh my God. Like,
Emotional.
this was like, I've seen, like how Justin has said, I've seen the whole thing in like parts. Like when I did it with him, this was the first time I sat down and watched the whole thing from beginning to end.
And I'm not going to lie, but Bill actually cried. We both cried a little bit. Not going to lie.
It is just such a good film. I told my dad I finally sat down and watched all Shawshank Redemption. He's like, "What took you so long?"
It's a great movie.
Because for those of you who don't know, this is actually one of my dad's favorite movies.
There you go. In my top 10.
Well, wouldn't you say this is like your typical boomer dad favorite movie?
I would say so.
To all the boomers out there, we apologize.
We apologize, boomers.
But The movie itself, because I talked about this before when the Academy re-examined controversial decisions.
Yeah.
This they we'll talk about that one probably later, but there was another one. It said who would have won in 1994, the Academy Revisited. They said Shawshank would have beaten Forrest Gump
Hmm.
for Best Picture. And also with Shawshank, it's about a man who gets wrongfully convicted of killing his wife
Yep.
and her boyfriend, and how he escapes after 20 years.
Based on the Stephen King novel.
Yeah. And you know what? I think people get turned off of this movie
What for?
because they say, oh, it's a prison movie. Yeah, it does show some of the things that happen in prison.
But it's more about friendship.
Yeah, the prison at the end of the day is just the setting.
Yeah, it really is.
The prison is just about the prison is just the setting. It's more about the friendship of the two men. And it includes one of my favorite quotes.
Get busy
Get
living
busy
or get
living.
busy dying.
You either get busy living or get busy dying.
That's damn right.
And it's a story about hope.
Sure
And
is.
the ending, you know what? Should we not spoil it for Justin?
No, let's not spoil it for you. You haven't seen it, right?
Bits and pieces.
Okay, you got to watch it from beginning to end, my friend.
I
Well,
can't believe it. I told my dad you've never seen it, Justin, and
he's like, what?
he's questioning some of your credentials.
It's one of the best movies of all time. One of the best movies of
Oh
all
God,
time.
I will not argue with that. That movie just even think about it sends chills up my spine.
Yeah, me too. Once you see it, you're like, wow. Took me that long. Like you, like it's always on TV. Like, let me just watch it again. So,
Yeah,
anyways,
but it's always on like TNT or AMC or
always on those channels. Always on those cable networks. Always, it went from bomb. And let's not forget this movie bombed at the box office. Bombed at the box office.
the
Then it became
critics just, oh my God, we love it.
yeah. So
Okay.
all right. Now
Uh,
we have to get to it, Bill.
nah, Sylvania,
To all of our podcast listeners, I'm sorry that if the volume got too high there, but yes, we're talking about the Lion King.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm not gonna look it up.
Now that Bill's done appropriating.
Hashtag cancel Bill.
Lion King 2 Simba's Pride, anyone? I'm kidding. Don't worry.
But anyway, the film. Okay, we said Little Mermaid started the Disney Renaissance. Beauty and the Beast was the one that said, "Hey, Disney's back." This was the film that made Disney hit Nirvana
Yeah.
or hit Salvation. This film was, oh my God, this is my favorite Disney movie. I cannot. I don't think I can even find the words to talk about it. It's just so
Magnificent.
It is a magnificent film. The animation is great. The music, which this time not written by Alan Menken.
No, this time it was Elton John and Tim Rice.
Yeah. Because actually, funny story, this was actually the first Disney animated film since The Great Mouse Detective that didn't include music from Howard Ashman, and the first Disney movie since Oliver and Company that didn't include the work of Alan Menken. And because at the time Alan Menken was working on Pocahontas and was also working on whatchamacallit, was also working on Beauty and the Beast, the Broadway musical.
And Howard Ashman was in the big poker game in the sky.
Exactly. And Howard Ashman had passed away. And so anyway, You know what band they actually originally tried to get to do the music for this?
Who?
Mamma Mia, there I go again.
Oh no, no,
Yeah, they were
no,
actually reaching out
no,
to
no,
ABBA.
no,
They were actually thinking about reaching out. They actually reached out to ABBA,
no, 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 no.
and they said they were considering it. How do you think it
No.
would have been? Lion King with music by ABBA, by a Swedish pop band.
I mean, it got the guy who did it is a gay piano pop star, so
And and then they got Elton John. At first, Elton John was like, he was gonna do it, but when he wrote the problem free philosophy,
mhm.
Hakuna Matata, he's like, oh God, I hit a new low.
So he was just in it for the money.
At first, but he said, I'll write songs that both kids and adults can enjoy. And well, because it's funny, because Elton John actually met with Alan Menken because Elton John actually did a song at the end of Rocky Five that Alan Menken wrote called "Measure of a Man."
Hmm.
And when they met each other, he's like, "Oh, you do those Disney animated films? That's very interesting. I want to see if I could get in on that." But the film itself, we all know the story. Simba, his father Mufasa, he's going to be king one day. Mufasa dies. By who's killed by his uncle Scar, and then he puts himself in exile and then meets Timon and Pumbaa.
Oh, come on, Bill. Everyone knows the story. Even the people who've never seen the animated movie, which why, have at least seen that new one, which is essentially the same movie, just worse. So
And
everyone knows the story.
somebody we know, we're not going to mention names, who is on this podcast doesn't like this movie.
No.
JT, here to
I'm not gonna
defend yourself?
I'm not even gonna go there, guys. We already talked about
Nope.
overrated movies.
Nope. There's no turning back.
We've been going for like an hour and 40 minutes. Come on.
Okay, moving on. But this film was actually an underdog, believe it or not, with Disney, because we're not going to give it its own segment, but I'll briefly talk about it. Another film that was in the making at this time, of course, Pocahontas. That was the film that Disney put all their chips on. Because they were thinking if Beauty and the Beast was good enough to get nominated for Best Picture, they were going to make a film that was good enough to win it. And they thought Pocahontas was going to be the one. So they put the A team and everyone on Pocahontas, and they basically put Lion King to the B squad.
The B Squad.
The B squad. And because they thought the Pocahontas was going to be the more prestigious film, it was going to be the big one, and the Lion King was going to be was just going to be how do I describe it, Justin?
The kiddie film?
It was just going to be, the fun filler film, And then what happened was Lion King ended up being a huge hit. And ended up breaking Aladdin's record for highest grossing film of the time, and they kept that record for 9 years until Finding Nemo, but still holds the record for the highest rated traditionally animated film.
Right.
And the movie and it's funny how if you go on Rotten Tomatoes, and listen, we don't always trust Rotten Tomatoes. Lion King had like a 90 something percent rating. Pocahontas is like the only film from the Disney Renaissance on there that has a rotten rating.
Oof, how bad.
And that was supposed to be the big one. But anyway, this film and also this song This movie, 3 songs were nominated for Best Original Song. Circle of Life, Hakuna Matata, and the one that ended up winning it, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And this movie, like I said, Little Mermaid started it. Beauty and the Beast basically said, hey, we're back. Disney, The Lion King, effing just dominated and said, yep, we're here to stay.
See, if I was the Academy, I would have given the Oscar to Circle of Life. Personally.
Really? How come?
Because it's amazing.
But hey, either way, Elton John would have gotten an Oscar.
Yep.
What if Hakuna Matata got the Oscar?
Good night, everybody.
Going to bed. God bless.
But it's our problem-free philosophy.
All
right, moving on to
95.
We have to talk about Toy Story.
Yes, we do.
We have to talk about it because it is the first Pixar movie out of the gate. And
The
not
first computer animated movie
ever. And it's funny, this movie turns 30 next year.
Yeah.
And it still holds up. It's a great story. It's got a great meaning. But it's the animation, it holds up to this day still.
Well, the human model is not so much.
The human, but the toys, yes. The humans, no. But yeah. Like Andy doesn't look good now, but as far as like computer animation goes. So I'm gonna just kind of come out swinging and say that I think that Toy Story 1 is the worst Toy Story movie. Out of the first 3, I'm not including.
Okay, we were gonna say we have seen 4.
I'm not including Toy Story 4 in that conversation because I haven't seen it.
I think Toy Story, for someone who's seen Toy Story 4, I think Toy Story 4 is the worst of them.
No, but I'm saying out of a trilogy, out of the first 3, I think
you can't call it a trilogy. There's a 4th one and it exists. You can't just pretend it doesn't exist.
Well, a lot of people do, Bill.
A lot of people do. They do with a lot of other franchises too.
So. Trust me. I think Toy Story 4 is the worst of it.
Well, if you take that one out, though,
can we stop with the mental gymnastics here?
You know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're trying to say, but you just can't pretend a movie doesn't exist because you've never seen it or don't like it.
Well, well, okay, hold on one second. You can't just hold on. I haven't seen Toy Story 4 yet.
Didn't you hear what I just said?
I heard what you just said.
Bill, it's called headcanon.
Yes, exactly.
But that's kind of unfair.
I'm just saying. Anyways, let's.
So, do you want Toy Story 5 to come out, Bill?
No.
No, I don't. But unfortunately, those are the breaks. I don't like the breaks.
Then pull the brakes, Bill. Pull the brakes.
But anyway. But no, Toy Story. I think this was the one that started the 2D animated films, and
oh my God, Justin. Yeah, no, this was the one that started the Pixar crave.
I agree.
The one that started off, and again, 2024 marks 29 years. So next year marks 30 years of Toy Story. That's insane.
So, fun fact for you guys. This is the first Disney movie I remember watching.
Wow.
Really?
Yep. Full stop. I think this was the one that because I remember the opening with the Disney logo, and I remember it being kind of different from the regular Disney logo that it doesn't have that. It has a bit of a different fanfare to it. I remember hearing that one for the first time so vividly. And I have the VHS tape of this. I played it so much when I lived in Florida. I'm surprised I didn't break the VCR.
Whoa. Big words from Justin.
Okay.
So play nice.
Yes.
Ah!
I don't want to spend too much because I don't want to spend too much time on 90 on this movie because we gotta get we gotta get a lot more to go to. But yeah, the Toy Story set the animation craze on fire with at least computer animation movies.
Yeah,
Big one, big, a very important movie
the
indeed.
rise of CGI animation,
Yep.
the eventual downfall of traditional animation, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, there's only two more movies I could think of off the top of my head for 95. Do you guys mind if I breeze through them for a sec?
Sure.
Go ahead.
This is my top 10 favorite movies of all time. If you've never seen The Usual Suspects, get on it.
I've never seen it.
Oh my!
I gotta watch it now.
You have to be Bill. This is the ending. I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but the ending of the movie is one of my favorite movie endings of all time. One of my Justin, have you seen this movie?
I started watching it and then I think I fell asleep and then the whole Kevin Spacey thing happened.
Okay. Well, I don't want to don't spoil if you remember if Justin if you remember.
I know what happens.
Okay, but don't tell Bill because that the beauty about seeing movies that you have never seen before is that this movie ends and it's I'm not gonna tell you I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's a fantastic movie ending. One of my favorite
It's
endings I've ever seen.
it's a movie twist that's kind of up there with Empire.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. It's up there with Empire Strikes Back 100%. Um quick backstory, it's about five criminals get pulled into a police lineup. They're trying to figure out who is the killer. And you'll find out who the killer is at the end of the movie. And all you need to know is that Kaiser Soze is out there. That's all I'm saying. Needless to say, but Kaiser Soze, he's out there. Great film. One more. I have not seen this movie for 95, but I feel like Justin has. So Morgan Freeman. It's called Seven. Have you seen this, Justin?
Oh,
Or no?
this movie's so fucked up.
It's okay. I have not. You can shed some more light. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, it's not
So
for a couple Oscars. I just wanted to touch on it because I know it was up there. So
David Fincher is one of those auteur directors who really is married to his vision.
yes,
He had this horrible experience directing Alien 3, which led him to basically disavow the movie. With Seven, he was much more uncompromising. When the studio gave him notes, he fought those notes. He would replace something with an even worse thing. And then the studio would come back to him and it's like, you know what? The thing you had before wasn't that bad after all. You can put that back in.
wow,
This it follows two detectives. One's very weathered, just very jaded. The other's more of an upstart trying to get his foot in the door, and he's really wants to get his hands dirty with this. And they're going after this John Doe who is killing people in the style of the Seven Deadly Sins.
wow,
Um, the the deaths in this movie are so freaky.
Hmm.
Sloth will scare the living shit out of you.
Oh,
And I'm not going to ruin the ending for you, but it will make you feel empty inside.
we might have to watch it. I've never seen it. Bill, have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I only saw because it was on the top like IMDb rated movies of all time with David Fincher's name attached to it, so I had to talk about it. But I have
Okay,
not
so
seen
I think
Seven.
I know you know what movie we have to talk about for 95.
Which one?
They could take away our lives, but they can't take away our freedom.
Why am I drawing a blank on what movie that is? I know exactly what movie it is.
Braveheart.
Oh, God damn.
Braveheart.
I'm a damn idiot. I'm sorry.
You
Not
call
brave.
yourself
Not
a
brave.
slut?
Not brave.
I've only seen parts of it, but
And you
Stone's
call
one of my
yourself a
favorite
slut?
people on earth, and guess how much sarcasm I mean that with?
The Scottish.
God, I hate this man so much.
Oh yeah.
Mel
Yeah.
Gibson's an ass.
Which is why I kind of avoided this movie.
No, you have to admit though, it's an epic movie.
It is an epic film.
I watched the second half of the movie. From the they may take our lives, but you cannot take our freedom to when he, you know.
Yeah, this is a very violent film.
Oh, there's blood everywhere. There's a reason why it's rated R.
Yeah.
The
But it's-
Braveheart movie commentary coming soon.
Ooh,
Although,
yes.
if they really wanted to go for the realism, this movie should have been rated NC-17.
Oh,
They would
well,
all,
Absolutely.
they would
Yeah,
all be
sure.
nude.
They would be nude.
yeah, we wouldn't be able to show you guys right now because we do the show on Zoom.
And you guys would see the nude.
The nude Mel Gibson.
No.
Kidding.
I don't like him with clothes on.
He's not terrible. He's all right.
Mm.
Anyways, I digress.
No, he's a
You
bad
speak from
person.
experience, JT?
Don't go there. I can always mute you right now. No, but and also this is a great movie though. You have to, regardless of what you think about Mel Gibson, this is a great movie.
Okay, fair.
Great movie. One of the best movies of the 90s in general. I would say in general too. Should we go into 96?
Let's.
Okay, was there anything in 96?
I got three. I got four. Hold on one sec. All right. First one, let's go back to sci-fi for a second. What they'll never forget this day, Independence Day,
Today will be our Independence Day.
with Bill Pullman as the president of the United States and Will Smith coming into the forefront as a true action star. I have never seen this movie, but I feel like it's on TV all the time, so I might as well just watch it one day. I'm gonna be honest with both of you.
Okay.
I've seen it.
Is it good? Decent? I don't know how to explain
Yeah,
it.
It's a fun film.
it's fun, but it's
Stupid?
cheesy. Yeah,
It's cheesy.
It's stupid.
Okay. No, I wasn't sure. And I know Independence Day Resurgence, they did the sequel to it like several decades later, but still. So 20 years later. So I don't know. Ironically enough, it says it was released on July 3rd, 1996, which is even funnier. So let's go see the movie.
I think I respect it more for its marketing than the actual movie itself.
That's fair. That's fair. Jeff Goldblum's in it, so is Will Smith. So had to touch on that.
Hey.
We're zipping through a couple, all right. But anyways, the next one I was going to talk about, one of my favorite movie franchises, and Bill and I reviewed one of the most recent movies, but Mission Impossible started in 1996. The Tom Cruise action thriller epics.
Yes.
Do.
The movie that established Tom Cruise, the action star.
Yes, sir. I love me some Tom Cruise too. I think this is the one that started it all. I can't believe that this franchise is over almost 30 years old and it's still going.
Well, the next one's going to be the last one with Tom Cruise.
Unfortunately. I don't know what they're going to do after that, but we'll see. With the Dead Reckoning Part 2, whatever it's going to be called, or Dead whatever.
I mean, they introduced a new agent at the end of the last one. Who knows? Maybe she'll be the new Ethan
at the end of Rogue Nation, or the end of Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah. That's true. I mean, that Bill and I saw that in theaters. That was a
We did.
thriller of a film. We were on the edge of our seat the whole time. It's a great movie. I love Tom Cruise. I love his acting. I love his movies. But yeah, this is the one that started all the Mission Impossible from 1996. Almost 30 years old. Hard to believe. So in 2 years, this movie's gonna be 30. Crazy enough.
All spawning from a TV show from the 60s.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, one of the best, one of the best franchises in general going right now. Still strong. I think MI4 was highest grossing, right? MI5 was highest
No,
grossing.
MI6 was the highest grossing.
Oh, it was Ghost. No, Ghost Protocol. No, that's Fallout. Fallout.
Fallout.
Oh, that was
Yes.
so good. Fallout was so good. I watched it with my mom, and she's like, "Whoa, that was intense."
Yeah, that one's actually probably my favorite in the franchise. I liked 4, 5 was okay. 6 is just fantastic.
It's funny actually. To me, like ever since Mission Impossible 3, they have progressively gotten better and better at films in general. Like Mission
Yeah.
JJ did 3, Ghost Protocol was 4 on the Dubai Tower, and then they had 5 on with Rogue Nation. It was my first one in theaters. I saw it in theaters. It was amazing. And then they did Fallout. Fallout was it kept getting better and better, which I loved even more. So that's what drew me to see
See, I still like Fallout better than Dead Reckoning.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. I think Dead Reckoning has had its moments, but it was definitely like a Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 or Infinity War kind of feel to it. You know what I mean? It was like a Part 1 setup. So, anyways, had to touch on that one. Tom Cruise also started another one of my favorite movies in the 90s that I still have yet to see. I've only seen like probably half of it, which sucks, but I want to see this movie in full, but it's Jerry Maguire.
Show me the money.
Come on, show me the money. Show me the money, baby. You guys see this fully? It's
No,
on.
I
It's one
know.
of those. It's one.
I haven't.
It's on TV all the time. It's on cable TV all the time, and I just haven't sat down and watched it.
I don't know. This movie doesn't really appeal to me that much.
Okay, no, that's all. Film is subjective. It's all good. I'm just wondering because like have you seen it's a sports movie too, right?
Yeah, it is a sports movie, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Show me the money. Show me the money. Help me. Help you. Me. Help you. They got the Quan. See, I know the quotes. I just have to stand and watch it. It's fucking an hour and 2 hour movie. I don't even know. I got to see. No, but needless to say, though, Jerry Maguire, Tom Cruise. Again, Tom Cruise is my boy. I'm sorry. I style my hair after him sometimes too, which is even pathetic. But I love him. He's a great guy. But no, I had to touch on it because it came out in '96. I had just to briefly touch on this movie. Yeah, that's all I got for 90. You guys got anything for '96?
Nah, I think I'm good.
Justin,
Yeah,
you got anything?
I'm good on 96.
97?
So with 97,
Oh, yeah, we have to talk about it.
guys, we gotta talk about Batman and Robin.
Oh, I was not even thinking that, but I was thinking like the highest grossing movie that year, but that's me.
Oh, we'll get to that in a minute.
We'll get that in a second. But yeah, do we have to talk about this?
This movie is everything wrong with the 90s,
Yes,
wrapped in an hour and 20-minute movie.
that all of us have painfully seen.
Batman
Never again.
and
Product,
Robin movie commentary coming soon.
With a drinking game involved.
product placement, glossy production design,
The Bat credit card.
back credit cards. This movie was a toy commercial.
It was really just a giant.
Full stop. It was a toy commercial. The only purpose was to sell their merchandise. And that was a trend that was very rampant in the 90s.
And because we got to have.
Money.
Well, this needs historical context. After, and we didn't talk about these two, which we apologize, after Batman Returns,
Which is one of my favorites.
what happened was the audience did not like that it was too dark. Parent groups protested it. So they decided in 1995 to make a film that was more safe. And they got Batman Forever, which isn't good, but it's not terrible. It's not this.
No.
All I can say is it's not this. I know that's a low bar, but it's not this.
Yeah. This movie was just made to sell toys.
And then in 1997, they made this monstrosity, which, you know what? I'm going to say this. It's bad, but it depends on what perspective you look at it. If you look at this from the perspective of a Batman movie, you're going to be severely disappointed.
If you look at it as a Batman parody movie,
Oh, it's hilarious.
you'll have some fun.
But this was the movie that officially iced the Batman franchise.
Really, Bill?
Yes.
Iced.
Yes. You know we had to. Because hell freezes over. Justin, I think you need to chill.
I'm going to put the show on ice.
But anyway.
Stop with the puns, damn it.
Oh, come on, JT. Cool it. Okay, I'm done.
Oh, I swear to God. Anyways.
Okay, I'm done.
All right, Bill. Chill.
You said it too. Anyway. This movie put a hold on not just the Batman franchise, but on comic book movies in general for a while. Wouldn't you say, Justin?
Yeah, because until Spider-Man,
which we'll talk about next week,
movie studios were afraid to be associated with the bright and colorful comics that they were going back to the dark and gritty, which will take inspiration from a movie we're going to be talking about in a few minutes.
But this actually but you know what? It's hard to believe that from 1997 to would you say 2002?
I would say because X-Men was a success too, but
when did X-Men come out?
2000.
2000.
Okay.
But with X-Men, that's a little different because with that movie, it felt like it was embarrassed to be a comic book movie.
But it's mainly from 97 to 2000, 2002. Comic book movies were box office poison.
Oh, yeah.
And now they're some of the most successful movies of all time.
Well, now we're sort of in the oversaturation end of things, which means the good ones will still do good money. The bad ones are going to fuel the fire of the whole superhero fatigue thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Batman and Robin, this was the one that froze comic book movies for a while. All right, next.
Okay, JT, you can go ahead and do your big movie.
My movie was so monumental. It was just so big. It was such a Titanic movie, guys. It was just so big. Haha, let the puns start rolling out for one of the most boring movies of all time. Kidding, guys. This was the first
3 hours of a boat sinking.
Literally, it's James Cameron. And who is it again? It's
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leo and Kate Winslet.
And Kate Winslet, thank you. Romanticizing over a boat sinking. And it became the first movie ever in history to gross over $1 billion at the worldwide box office. The domestic was $800 million. So people in the 90s were like, Titanic. Guys, it's a boat sinking. Spoilers. The boat sinks. End of discussion. Going to bed. Good night. God bless.
Every night in my dreams.
I actually, you both are gonna think I'm ridiculous for saying this. I knew I don't really care if I say this or not. There was a girl I tried dating at one point who this was her favorite movie of all time, and I was like, I can't date you. I'm sorry. That's harsh, but it's like, this is your favorite movie of all time. It's 4 hours of a damn boat sinking. Come on.
Okay, that's not a deal breaker.
That's the deal breaker for me.
I don't think
But
it's a deal breaker because like, for example, Catherine, she hasn't seen Endgame yet. She probably has no real desire to see Endgame. That's one of my favorite movies. Well, it's not my favorite, but it's one of them.
okay, no, it just well, Endgame was an epic cinematic masterpiece that destroyed all expectations amongst fans and critics alike. This is about a boat sinking.
Yeah, but it's not like it's still one of the
Come
most
at me,
popular
bro.
movies of all. It's one of the most popular movies of all time.
Yes, it is, and it's always on TV. It's always for like 5 hours on TV too, which is good, including commercials, which is funnier. So, but yeah, no, it's all right. Um, I had to touch on it just because it's
And Justin, you want to tell a little story that happened recently about this movie with you?
Not particularly.
no, don't do it.
Oh, come on, it's funny.
I know, but we're pressed for time.
We've been living
Okay,
under
let's anything
we
else from 97 or
no, we've hit the 2 hour mark, by the way, guys.
okay, so 98 we go.
Let's zip into 98. All right, I got all right. Let's talk about the two big ones. Yeah, two big ones for 98, shall we? I'll kick it off, shall we? Armageddon.
Okay.
I have the space movie with Ben with a great soundtrack too, but it's a great movie.
Yes, the movie where they teach a bunch of oil drillers to be astronauts instead of teaching a bunch of astronauts how to be oil drillers.
Pretty much, yeah. But the soundtrack's great.
No, that's a legitimate criticism that Ben Affleck actually gave to Michael Bay.
But did he
And
really?
yeah, and apparently Michael Bay just told him to shut the fuck
Oh, damn. All right.
up.
Well,
We go from My Heart Will Go On to Don't Wanna Close My Eyes.
I don't want to fall asleep because I'd miss you, baby. And I don't want to miss it. Aerosmith, I know you're retired, but don't sue us. Anyways, I digress. I had to touch on it. Great soundtrack, great movie. Needless to say, Armageddon. And Liv Tyler, mind you. Steven Tyler's daughter's in the movie too.
Huh.
All right, one more I had to touch on. I think Bill touched this movie. It's one of his favorite movies of all time. But Saving Private Ryan was in '98. Steven Spielberg again, killing it as always. As one
First
of the
30 minutes of this movie, one of the
gruesome.
most intense war sequences I've ever seen.
Yes. And guess
Yes.
what? The biggest Oscar screw up in history.
Oh, 100%.
For those
Fuck
of you
you,
who don't know,
Shakespeare in Love.
what was that, Justin?
That fuck you, Shakespeare in Love.
And yeah, of all the horrible things Harvey Weinstein has done, this is like the second worst thing he's done next to all the, those things.
Yes, but it's a big jump
Yeah, but
in.
okay, how about this? This is the worst career thing he's done. That was the worst human thing he's done. How does that sound?
Mm, you need to read up on some of Harvey Weinstein's business practices.
You know what? We don't need to. I think the world knows Harvey Weinstein's an asshole.
Oh, he was.
Being too kind.
And that's not, and I'm sorry, that's not even accounting for the sexual assaults.
But Harvey Weinstein, he basically screwed everything. And Shakespeare in Love ended up winning Best Picture over Saving Private Ryan. Like everyone thought Saving Private Ryan was going to win. because ooh, sorry, the game sounds like it's getting good. And
Bill, focus.
come on, it's an important game.
I'll keep track. You do it.
No, but anyway. What I was saying though is that the film itself was just absolutely okay. Oscars. Everyone thought Saving Private Ryan was going to win. And, because Steven Spielberg won Best Director. And then Harrison Ford came out, and everyone thought that Saving Private Ryan was going to win Best Picture.
Yeah.
Because Harrison Ford also presented Steven Spielberg for Best Picture when he won for Schindler's List. And then it ended up being Shakespeare in Love. But you know what? You got to look at it this way. Shakespeare in Love won the battle, but Saving Private Ryan won the war, no pun intended.
Yeah, because no one ever talks about Shakespeare in Love anymore.
Because Shakespeare in Love is basically the How Green Was My Valley. For those, because that was a movie that won the Academy Award in 1941, but it's known more for what it beat
than its own merit.
And it ended up beating Citizen Kane. So it's more known for what it beat than for its merit, and that's the same here with Saving Private Ryan. The Saving, this is known. Shakespeare in Love was known more for what it beat than its own merit, because everyone knows Saving Private Ryan. It is one of the best war movies I've ever seen. It is such a great film. Tom Hanks is great. One of Steven Spielberg's best. I would say Saving Private Ryan. And when they revisited the controversial Academy decisions, they said they would have voted again. They would have voted for Saving Private Ryan.
Good.
And screw Harvey Weinstein and screw Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah.
Hey, this movie should have won. Should have won Best Picture. Real quick, there's actually another movie I want to talk about for 1998. It's actually an animated movie that was not by Disney. Justin.
Ants? Prince of Egypt?
Yep.
We did a movie review of this a while ago, but go on.
But but this movie, context. While the Disney Renaissance was going on, this was near like the tail end of it. Other studios were not making animated films because they knew they would get their ass kicked by the mouse.
Yeah.
But then there was another studio that came into, and it was a studio called DreamWorks that was made by Steven Spielberg and Jeffrey Katzenberg and some other guy whose name I can't remember.
No one ever remembers him.
Because Katzenberg was actually one of the big wigs over at Disney Animated during the Renaissance. But then in 1994, Frank Wells, the president, died in a helicopter crash.
Oh, Jesus.
And Katzenberg was in line to be named president. But Michael Eisner said no. Jeffrey Katzenberg basically told Eisner to go F himself, and he stepped down from Disney and started DreamWorks. And then they had Ants, and there's that whole thing between Ants and A Bug's Life, and
I'm taking the bug picture with me.
In which they tried to move up the dates to compete with each other. But then came The Prince of Egypt, which is a telling of the story of the Exodus. Yep. And the film is, I think, for a non-Disney animated film, this film is great.
Oh, it's probably one of my favorites.
The animation is great. I love the burning bush, bro. I love the burning bush. And the music that plays during that. So, Prince of Egypt, I think this was one of the films that killed the Disney Renaissance. What do you think, Justin?
Yes, for their traditional animation.
Because this was the film that really started to say, hey, Disney, you're not the only ones who can do this. We can do it too.
Yes, but DreamWorks did not have a long career in traditional animation.
True.
Because then they had Road to El Dorado, which I don't remember if it did well or not, but Sinbad flopped hard.
But then we'll talk about the movie that helped DreamWorks next week.
Yeah.
But I think this was starting to show, hey, Disney, you're not the only one who can make good animated movies. All right. All right. Next, let's go to the end of the decade.
The end of the decade, shall we?
1999.
I have two major motion pictures that we should talk about. And listen, we could talk about the Phantom Menace and the new trilogy next week. But let's talk about what more like, I don't want to say independent, but like higher grossing movies of that year that really stick out to me personally. And honestly, this movie still looks amazing to this day. But The Matrix came out in 1999. It looks really, to this day, the visual effects are flawless and holds
So
up.
this movie scarred me as a kid.
Tell me why.
Remember that scene where Agent Smith puts that little bug thing inside of Neo? Like in the beginning?
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I saw that when I was 6.
Yeah,
Oh
so it's
God.
terrified you.
I am still terrified of any kind of scene involving like bugs inside your skin or your body crawling around. Like that is just a visceral fear of mine now. And it's because of this movie.
Yeah. I could see why. So, but it's one of the most groundbreaking movies of all time. You have to touch on that, of course. So, but yeah, let's wrap things up now with one more movie that came out in 1999, and that movie actually is called The Sixth Sense.
I see dead people.
A fright fest of a movie that shook audiences. It won a lot of box office awards too. It did really well at the box office. But I've only seen this movie like once or twice. It's M. Night Shyamalan, correct?
Yes, M. Night Shyamalan's directorial debut.
Yep, and holds up to this day. One of the best movies of the 90s. So I had to shed some light on it because it is truly a crazy. It really came to show how Shyamalan became quite the director he would later become with like plot twists and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it set the mood for him as a director. Excuse me.
Yeah. Give me one sec. Just want to look at one thing.
I mean, he's known for plot twists mainly because of this movie. No.
Okay. I was just seeing if this was another situation where it was going to be Miramax. No, this was distributed by Buena Vista, so Disney.
Correct.
Yeah. Usually when people talk about Shyamalan, they have two favorite Shyamalan movies. One of them is always going to be The Sixth Sense.
What's the other one?
Usually it depends. Some will say it's Unbreakable. Some will say it's Signs. Some might even say the Village. Split. But yeah, this was made on a budget of $40 million. It made
Almost
over
700 million.
almost $700 million for a directorial debut.
That's a pretty big success right there.
This is the guy who was being praised as being the next Spielberg.
At the time.
Yeah. And if he continued to put out better movies, he might have been able to.
Honestly, yeah.
I think his problem though is he doesn't take criticism necessarily well.
No, I don't think so.
Shyamalan.
Yeah, I don't think he does.
In fact, if you want to see what he thinks about critics, go watch The Lady in the Water. It's not good, but in the best way possible.
Okay. I'll give the other one a shot. So I think that's it, guys.
Yeah, that's it.
We pretty much nailed the big ones from the later part of the decade too, which we had to touch on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we did good, guys. I think we did really well. We want to thank you for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us tonight. Thanks so much for tuning into our podcast as always. Bill, you have a sports thing?
Sports Insanity Podcast. Check us out. We're on all platforms. Don't forget to check out Thursday Night Gridiron on Thursday night, probably about 7:15, where we're going to preview the Thursday night Giants-Cowboys game. And after Gridiron, me and a couple guys, we're actually going to be doing a live stream of the Giants-Cowboys game. So check that out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yeah, check us out on all platforms.
Yes, and Justin's working on his own podcast too. I'm just kidding. He's doing great. No worries. He's doing great over there. Anyways, we want to thank you for watching this and however you enjoy us tonight. Thanks so much for tuning into our podcast as always. And another long one. We did well. But make sure to check out our mixed bag segments on our YouTube channel on YouTube, simply at the Super Review Show. But for all of us here at the Super Review Show, stay safe.
Take care.
Take care. And
Be
be awesome.